Welcome to Times Square. I'm Leslie Winnick, co-founder and board member of CapitalW, and this is Take5. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Leslie.
I'm so happy to have you sitting here.
I'm excited to be
and
here.
Check out the setting.
I know, it's so beautiful.
We have the ball. Behind that construction, we've got the Times Square ball. And we're here in New York City for the secondary capital markets, the annual convention. But it's also an amazing time for us to connect.
Yes.
Do a Take 5.
Yes.
Also because you have just such a rich background in this industry, 20 years plus. Yes. Not to date you.
That's okay.
But a really, really interesting background. And that's why we wanted to spend time with you.
Yeah, I look forward to chatting.
Okay, great. So the format of a Take 5 is the same 5 questions we ask of all of our guests.
Okay.
Everyone has a different perspective, and then we finish it at the end with some fun, fast questions, our little take on Colbert's Fast 5. get to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right. So let's start with the basics. So like I said, 20 years in this industry.
Yeah.
Let's see. Right now you're with Mortgage Capital Trading. Before that, product management, right? And Marisave. Before that, a really important role at New Res. Before that, 2 lenders, strategy, operations, product, all of it. So if you can just give us a little bit of a timeline, how you got into this business, peppering in your MBA, by the way, in that journey. Just give us some background about where you sit today.
Yeah, sure. So I actually grew up outside of Pittsburgh. And I went to the University of Pittsburgh, so Pitt all the way. And I was an accounting major, and I fancied myself an auditor. I thought I wanted to be an auditor, so I kind of was, setting up the path for that to happen. And it was the summer before I graduated that I actually did an internship with Sony, an accounting internship with Sony, and I audited all summer. And it was about halfway through the summer that I started to question whether or not that was the path for me. So while I still, in preparing to graduate, I still focused heavily on, accounting positions when I was looking. But I did start to kind of open the door and think about, maybe some other opportunities. And in walked mortgage, my husband...
Did you just say in walked mortgage?
In walked mortgage.
From Sony, Sony Walkmans. That's what I was thinking.
My husband at the time, or my husband now, my boyfriend at the time, was in the mortgage industry. He was a loan officer for an originator outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
He was a loan officer, and he was invited to be part of their President's Club, and I was his +1. So I got to meet some people, around the firm, his, sales leadership, and some people on the corporate side. And I walked away from that event with a few business cards. And of course I went home and, sent them all my resume. And it turned into an interview with their head of cap markets for a junior secondary marketing analyst position. And yeah, the rest is history. I walked away from that interview very excited, more so than I was about any of the accounting prospects I had at the time. And I joined the team, and I've been in the industry ever since.
And what were the skills in accounting that you applied to that secondary role right away?
I think attention to detail, the analytical piece. What I loved about accounting, I loved the rules, I loved the problem solving, and I found that right away in capital markets. So it was a good fit.
And you've been in capital markets, like I said, for quite some time. So give us a little bit of background from that entry junior analyst role. How did you, go up the tiers to where you are today?
Yeah, I would say out of the gates, I had a very narrow view of, what a career path should look like. And I was very focused on just, the next bar and next title and, gaining more and learning more. At some point, though, I kind of started to look around and became, very interested in what was happening in other parts of the company and of, the businesses that I was working for, which is kind of how I, my career path is a little bit, maybe a little bit sideways at times, maybe took a step back at times to, to try on some different hats. But yeah, I think it was just kind of always looking around, and if there was an opportunity, I kind of was always the first one to raise my hand and just, give it a try. I definitely always found my way back to cap markets, though. I was in operations for a couple of years, and I feel like the whole time I was kind of looking over my shoulder and stopping over at the desk and, checking emails and still reading hedge reports and, just keeping an eye on that space. So I knew that's where I wanted to, to head back to. But the experience that I feel like I gained from touching, different areas of the business definitely made me more well-rounded and helped me, I think, be even stronger in a cap markets role, understanding the front of the house that much better.
Right.
Yeah.
Really important learnings, right? Like, how do you understand the whole, how your bit fits into the whole, really important. But
right.
If I could headline some of the learnings you said, it was like hustle, raise your hand, ask for more,
sure.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Curiosity.
I was always asking for more.
Yeah.
yes. My bosses always loved, the persistence there.
All right, so now you're at Mortgage Capital Trading.
Yeah.
And your new role is called a Capital Markets Technology Advisor. Why don't you share with everyone a little bit about the day in the life of Jessica and what your role entails?
Yeah, and it's really great because I was a client at one point, years ago, and it was we were one of the early adopters of MCT Live. So it's been awesome, kind of coming on board and having a look behind the scenes and getting to know the other side of the business.
To be clear, we did not steal you from a client.
No, I was a free agent.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, so Capital Markets Technology Advisor. I'm part of the Client Success Group, which is great. I get to work with our clients at various phases during the process, from prospecting and showing them what MCT can do for them, to clients that are onboarding and helping them through that process. I think there is where I'm really able to understand kind of where they're coming from. I've been in their chair before,
right.
Understand some of the challenges, some of the nerves around switching hedge advisors, and help through that process. And then also clients that have been on the platform for years. It's great, getting to know them. Maybe they're looking to eke out a couple of basis points here and there or improve their processes. So that's been really great too. Just working with clients at all stages in this role. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. Well, change management is pretty, like, whatever company you're in or whatever client or prospect with whom you're talking. Change management is hard, right? That's the emotional, irrational sometimes part of
Absolutely.
Of anything. Our industry is changing right now so much. What are some of the tactics you use based on your deep history in this business to get people comfortable?
Yeah, I think that when I'm in that chair and you're facing all of that uncertainty and all the what ifs, and it's understanding very clearly what the next steps are. Who you can be looking to, who's going to be responsible for what,
right?
What to expect. I think laying that out clearly, setting steps, and making sure that everyone's understood at who's doing what. And when and why, I think it's just that communication is very clear.
In a word, communication.
Absolutely. And just that there is a plan. We're not just kind of, we'll figure it out when we get there. Right. And MCT's experience having, onboarded so many clients too. I mean, we absolutely lean on that. We have so many team members, across the organization that we can pull into those conversations to kind of ease, those nerves and make sure that we're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So we're here at the secondary. Definitely a lot of people in town.
Yeah.
But fewer than past years as well. Our industry is still in volatility, still in right-sizing itself. What do you think are some of the most pressing issues affecting mortgage right now?
Yeah. Where do we start?
Yeah. Like one.
I would say, one pressing issue that isn't a new issue that we've kind of, this industry as a whole, I think grapples with, throughout, all of the different iterations, is scalability.
Yeah.
With the inherent volatility in our industry, figuring out how to scale up and scale down, and to do so efficiently, without, I think that traditionally we would throw bodies, at volume. And then, the minute the volume stops and things shift, then, you're on the other side of that coin. And that creates, just so much volatility and, makes it very difficult in the industry. I think that there are ways that, and I don't know what, if we have a solid answer yet, but I think that that's a challenge that most originators are grappling with, is figuring out how to do that, how to scale up, utilize technology the right way, outsource, right? Find the right combination of all of those possibilities to get through those times without just hiring and hiring and hiring,
right?
And then having to, make difficult decisions down the road when volume inevitably switches.
So process re-engineering. Don't just digitize what you did before.
Right.
Figure out a new way of doing that process.
Yeah.
Or of course, if you take the people away, the work is still there, right? When companies don't always remember this, so when they're right sizing, who's picking up this job? This job has to happen.
Absolutely.
So how do you re-engineer that process?
Right.
And hopefully, using technology now, you might need fewer people.
Yeah.
With the way AI is going, we won't be here for this interview in 10 years.
We won't need to get up and get ready. And no, I think you're right. And I think too, our industry maybe has a bit of a bad rap, right? So I don't know how many college grads are graduating and saying like, I can't wait to, get into the mortgage industry. And I think that part of it is that, right? We're known for the layoffs. We're known for, that volatility.
Cycles.
Yeah. So I think, finding a solution, a better solution for handling, the scaling up and the scaling down, I think is important.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's actually a really nice segue to our next question.
Okay.
Because you're talking about younger people who want to enter the industry. I mean, we are doing so much to encourage the new generation of mortgage professionals into our industry. So what advice would you give someone who's coming into mortgage now about, master these few skill sets, or here's what I would do, knowing now what I know, here's what I would tell younger Jessica as she jumps into this adventure?
I would think, so I think that I figured this out a little bit later in my career, but networking is so important. And I can't tell you, I think every jump that I've made in my career, it was at the hands of someone who was either a direct contact or a contact of a contact. It's all about, knowing someone and having someone who's willing to, go to bat for you, or, push your resume where it needs to go, or put in a good word. When I was trying to get into New Res, I launched a full-on assault. I really, at that point, I was in an operations role, and I knew I wanted to get back to cap markets, and I wanted to specialize, and I wanted to be on that trading desk. And I probably called 5 or 6 different people, asking them to put in a good word for me at New Res. But I would say, focus on those relationships. Make sure you're building, that network. It's very important. And I can guarantee at some point in anyone's career, they're going to need to lean on that network. And it's nice too, to be able to, to turn around and return some of those favors or pay them forward.
Isn't it? I mean, that's like the perfect plug for CapitalW right now too, isn't it? That we're trying to get people to want to enter this field. We want to shine a spotlight on the people who, like yourself, who have this wonderful career, but also make sure that there's mentorship and networking and connection that we can create with like-minded people.
Yeah.
All right. So also about CapitalW, bringing in more diversity, more perspectives, different, backgrounds into this industry.
Yes.
So what advice would you give organizations who are looking to open their doors to a richer, more diverse workforce?
So you had said something at the MCT Mortgage Exchange about, CapitalW being a resource for companies that are looking to, create panels, looking for speakers. Yeah. And I think maybe firms just kind of get in, the habit of going to the same resources every time they're putting something like that together.
Yes.
So I think, leaning on organizations like CapitalW to kind of just, refresh that a little bit, right? Bring in some new talent. I mean, the talent is there. It's just a matter of, of looking for it. So absolutely, I would think that's for a lot of reasons. I was talking to someone last night too, who wanted to bring, some diversity onto their trading desk. And they were saying they just haven't seen the resumes. But I think that, again, this organization, can help solve some of those problems. So, yeah.
So you heard it here first. Jessica's available for speaking engagements, and as will a lot of different resumes and people on the CapitalW website. We'll have a speakers bureau, and these organizations will be able to see top vetted talent who are available to participate and with deep, rich content knowledge and experience and backgrounds. Okay, so moving on.
Okay.
Not that this wasn't fun, but we're up to our fast five. All right.
Yeah.
So this is like a top of mind thing. All right. Take a deep breath.
Stretch it out.
All right. Favorite food?
Mexican.
Ole.
No, I mean,
I'm
all
totally
of it.
with you.
Margaritas, not food, but all of it. Guacamole.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So special hobbies or special interests. I know you have a beautiful golf swing, but what else? What else is a hobby? Or
I am very into youth sports right now.
Okay.
So I mean the gamut: wrestling, soccer, lacrosse. No, but honestly, that is what my husband and I do with our time right now, and I would have it no other way. It's so fun to watch the kids kind of flourish and grow and try different things, and
I love that.
Yeah, if I do get a couple minutes though, I would love to be on the driving range or on my Peloton. So.
Okay, there you go. All right, favorite book, periodical, or a podcast you would recommend?
I used to be really into podcasts, but that was like, my commute now is walking from the kitchen to my office. But I do listen to Bloomberg Radio most mornings. I guess that would be one of my go-tos. Just great, updates on all things, economics and what's going on with the market. Books. I've been reading a lot of just like romantic fiction, so nothing like
you need a good summer book read. Come on, I got to decompress.
Yeah. Colleen Hoover, I love all of them.
Okay, fantastic. What about your favorite musician or music group?
There's a lot of Taylor Swift in my life at the moment, and I don't hate it. I find her impressive. I would say probably my all-time though, I would have like Coldplay or Dave Matthews at the top of my all-time favorite list.
So that's a good triumvirate. That works. Yeah. Okay, and finally, if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you be? Other than with me right now here in New York City.
Easy. Iceland. We've been wanting to take a family trip there for quite some time, so that's something that I hope to be able to do in the next year. But
so we'll wait for the volcanoes to chill a little bit.
Yes, the volcanoes, the Blue Lagoon, the black beaches, black sand beaches, all of it. Just wildness and different.
It sounds fantastic. Yeah. That was so much fun. I love learning about you, having this conversation.
Yes, thank you.
20 minutes, just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun.
So fun. Thanks all of you for watching and listening. Please come back again. We'll have more Take 5s. We invite you to join us. Go to the website. Go to LinkedIn. Thanks for being here.